Some brands offer you low finance, or cashback, or servicing.
Renault don't do ors. We do ands. The Renault Kadjar with 1.91% APR and €1,000 cashback and 3 years servicing, saving you thousands. Renault, the brand with the ands. Visit your local Renault dealer. Finance is made under a hire purchase agreement. Terms and conditions apply. Deposit required. Subject to lending criteria. See Renault.ie.
Listening to Coffee with Kenobi, you are, with Dan Z, the podcast you're looking for. This is... yes. Previously on Coffee with Kenobi.
This week, Novos has announced and is offering pre-orders on a Mandalorian jetpack.
Unless it's an actual jetpack, I'm really not interested.
This is James Arnold Taylor, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi. I have a good feeling about this. Hello and welcome to show number 117 of Coffee with Kenobi, your spoiler-free place for Star Wars discussion, analysis, and rhetoric. I'm your host, Dan Z, drinking One Nation Coffee, the official coffee of Coffee with Kenobi, out of a Denny's coffee mug given to me over the weekend at the Denny's Star Wars event in Hollywood, California. Thank you so much for joining me today as we sit back and have some Star Wars conversation. We hope to make you think about the mythology of Star Wars in a whole new way and maybe laugh a little bit in the process. On today's show, Jason Brame and Mike Hill from the Chance Cube join me for a Star Wars canon update. Tom brings us the latest Star Wars news, and I share my experiences from my previously mentioned trip to Hollywood, where I got to participate in a number of Star Wars experiences, including a trip to the Scum and Villainy Cantina and the Void Star Wars Secrets of the Empire. So pull up a chair, grab your favorite coffee mug, and let's have some coffee with Kenobi.
And now, let's see what's brewing in the Star Wars universe this week.
Today's show is brought to you by One Nation Coffee, the official brew of Coffee with Kenobi. 4 lifelong friends had this idea that grew into some of the best coffee you will ever have. It smells amazing and tastes even better. Check out www.onenationcoffee.com to get your morning started off the right way and to learn more about them and how they seek to support traditional American values upheld by the members of the active duty military, veterans, and first responders. In fact, they are owned by veterans and members of law enforcement. All orders are roasted in small batches so the customer receives the coffee at its peak freshness, and they blend some of their coffee like JB's Buckshot and Moab with a bean to add an extra caffeine kick. This makes up for the loss of caffeine in darker roasts. They definitely value their connections with customers, and it shows in every interaction I've ever had with them. So be sure to go to www.onenationcoffee.com to get your morning started off the right way. It was so much fun going to Hollywood, as we're going to talk a lot about on the show, and one of the reasons was being able to share my experiences with members of Coffee with Kenobi's Patreon family via the Lens option. And I basically was able to talk to them about a number of different things, including me running to catch a plane on a connector flight in Dallas and just a lot of things like that. I got a lot of interesting looks from people as I'm running to catch a plane and I'm talking on my phone to our Coffee with Kenobi Patreon members. But it was really fun, kind of added to the excitement of it, and I got my plane fine, so that was great. But this is another way that I can use this feature to enhance the Coffee with Kenobi experience. Next week's show, speaking of, is going to be where we have our first Patreon exclusive show starring myself, Corey Clubb, and Tom Gross. Very excited about that. We are always talking about different things to include in the first couple of shows, so it's going to be fun. We have an idea of what's going to happen, but we really don't know, which makes it all the more interesting. And if you are a member of Patreon, all you need to do is be a contributor of $5 or more a month, and you're going to get a weekly show that's just for you.
So who talks first? You talk first? I talk first.
Joining us today for a cup of coffee is the executive producer and co-host of the Chance Cube, Jason Brame.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well, and listeners, longtime listeners, of course, will recognize that voice because Jason joins us monthly for canon updates. But we realized, at least I realized, maybe Jason already had thought about it, but you have never co-hosted this show with me, so I'm really excited that we're finally going to make this happen.
I'm excited too. I didn't even know it was on my bucket list, but now I can cross it off.
That you can. And also joining us is the producer and co-host of the Chance Cube, a gentleman I got a chance to know when I was able to be on the show recently with Jason, Mr. Mike Hill.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
It's going great, Mike. Great to have you on Coffee with Kenobi.
I'm really excited. I'm ready to talk some Star Wars.
Awesome. Well, you have come to the right place. We're going to open the show And of course, the Chance Cube is a primary focus, I think it's fair to say, is about the card and dice game Star Wars Destiny. And so we've talked about this a lot. And recently I played it for the first time, and I never got a chance to share it with you, Jason, but I'm pretty pumped to talk about it.
Well, I'm excited to hear what you think.
Yeah, well, so here we go. So the first, I'd say 20 minutes or so, I thought, okay, these dice are huge, because I've been playing a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. So I was a little put off first, because I was like, what's going on here? Then I kind of got my bearing, and then I got to know what the cards meant and all of the categories and sort of what I should be looking for, what I shouldn't be looking for. And then I won, so I was really excited. And then after a while, I finally thought, okay, not only do I like this, but this is awesome. I was very happy with it. I like that it's strategy based. I like that you have the luxury, if you are a Star Wars fan, of knowing what these characters are, and sort of that adds a little bit of flavor to the game, but it's not an absolute necessity, because you can still play the game just as well, I think, at least just on the little experience I have. What do you think about that?
I would tend to agree. A lot of people have come to the game because they're Star Wars fans. I think that's the same for both me and Mike. But arguably one of the best players in the world right now, I don't think has ever seen a single Star Wars film. So
you're kidding.
I am not kidding.
Oh, yeah,
it's really funny.
We interviewed him last night.
we did.
Really? Now, how does one get to be the premier player in the world?
Well, Joe, he comes from a card playing background. Even when you talk to him about Destiny, he drops little mannerisms and cues that you would use in Magic the Gathering, like tapping and like mana draw and stuff like that. So I think he is just in general a good card player, CCG and LCG player.
Sure.
And he got in the game super early, and he is very competitive, and he just knows the game very well.
That's cool. So I mean, I don't have any, because I played it about a little over a month ago, so I don't remember all the specifics, but I do remember really enjoying, like, when you can add on to the cards, you know what I mean, and add the damage. And you have to forgive me, I'm certainly not anywhere in the same universe as far as the specifics as you guys are, but I liked it. And then Jason was kind enough to send me a substantial amount of Jar Jar Binks cards and dice, which I thought was really, really funny. And I really liked it too, because I'm really glad that I got it when I did, Jason, because I'd already played, so I knew what everything meant. And I looked at all of his numbers, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is even worse than you would expect for Jar Jar, because it's basically as low as you can possibly get. No Jar Jar.
For people who've never seen the game before or have seen the Jar Jar Binks card, it is the most random card in the game. It is so out there and plays so different than everything else. It is so fitting for the theme and just the lore and everything. It works so great for Jar Jar Binks. It's funny. It's a very funny card and not played that often, surprisingly.
Is it surprising? I mean, you
not
nailed
at
it.
All. Nobody likes him.
No, you nailed it, because he's very much like, I mean, okay, to be honest, like I've said before, I like Jar Jar. He never bothered me. And then once I had children and I saw how they reacted to Jar Jar, I really appreciate him. But at his core in the universe, especially in the original episode 1 of the prequels, he makes a lot of mistakes and causes a lot of problems. And that's pretty much what the card does too. I think that's fair to say. So
yes, it is
pretty true. Yep.
So try to explain to us just for a few minutes, because I want to get into the canon discussion. Just sort of give us, if someone came into you and said, "Hey, I'm interested in playing Star Wars Destiny. How do you play this game and what's it about?" So let's say you got about a 2-minute pitch. How would you respond to that? Either of you or both of you.
You want to go first, Jason? I'll go second.
Okay, sure. My 2-minute pitch for Star Wars Destiny. I would have to say that Star Wars Destiny is a very accessible strategy-based card game. It's very easy to pick up, but there's got a lot of depth to it, so it's got a lot of replayability, and it's just a lot of fun taking turns playing with these characters from the Star Wars universe that you know and love. Everything from Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi to some of our newer fan favorites such as Dr. Aphra, and all these great characters from the universe, from the comics, from the novels, and you just pit them in battles against each other. And it's a great fast-paced game that is just a wonderful 30-minute enjoyment. I think a lot of people look at these customizable card games and say, why would I want to sit down for an hour and a half, play these games, or take these long turns where I'm having to watch what my opponent's doing, or these thousands of cards. Like, this is a 30-card deck that's alternating turns with your opponent, and you get done with the game in less than 30 minutes. It's a great, wonderful thing. It's accessible for all ages, too. I mean, there's plenty of families who are playing, husbands and wives, sons and daughters, really enjoying this game from thematics and a strategy. That's my unprepared elevator speech. For an interview, I usually have like time to think about these things, but that was thrown on me. So Mike has some thoughts, some time to think about it. So maybe his will be better.
Like the genuine, authentic, just sort of knee-jerk reaction can lead to some interesting conversation. So, Mike, how would you like to fill in with what Jason said? Or did he cover it perfectly? I think he did a pretty good job. But
He did a very good job. What I would say usually is I tell people it's a cross between Magic the Gathering and Dice Masters. So you get the cool characters, and then you also get to roll dice, which is very fun. And the game is very simple. You always get 2 resources at the beginning of the round, and you roll your dice out. Once you're done rolling your dice out and playing your 5 cards in your hand that you get every turn, that is the end of the round, and you start again. It's just so simple. It's a couple steps per round, and those rounds equal a full game. And it's just, like Jason said, very accessible to all ages. And if you love Star Wars, you're going to love this game because it's dripping with theme.
There you go. Oh, I like that. Yeah, very, very well said. Let's transition to canon. It's been a while, Jason, since we've gotten a canon update.
I know.
We've got a ton of stuff, of course, going on. We always do when it comes to Star Wars, but we've got impending Solo, different books, and children's things, and all kinds of stuff. So where are we?
Not a time in the world. I know. Well, let's look back before we look forward. Fortunately, and it has been some time since we've talked, but aside from Marvel Comics, and there hasn't been a whole lot of new material since The Last Jedi came out. But which has been really interesting to see from the comics, that now that The Last Jedi has come out, and we had Rebels really filled in that gap for us from a story perspective. But it's really interesting to see now that Rebels has concluded. The comics don't have to hide as much secret as to who was still in the Rebel Alliance. Both IDW and Marvel have shown Hera and Zeb showing up in some of these Rebel pictures, even in the backgrounds. I think it's super fun to see that they knew it was coming, and now we finally can start conceptualize that these characters were part of the Rebel Alliance this whole time. And it's just, I'm curious to see if we'll ever get any sort of full-fledged stories from them, and I hope someday we do. I don't know. How much you guys have kind of looked into all these things, but I love where both these comic series go, and even IDW stuff, which is geared towards younger readers, is just really interesting.
Yeah, they've done a fantastic job, and from what I understand, when you're looking at Star Wars Adventures comics, the first story is always canonical, and the rest are just kind of legacy type stuff. Is that fair to say?
The first one's always a very canonical story, and the second one is they say Tales from Wild Space, and it's a story told by the grandson of the character in the Adventures from Wild Space books.
Right.
And so they're always stories, and they're a little more trivial. Not to say they didn't happen, but it's kind of like the Tales of Luke Skywalker. How much truth can you find in a story that is being retold by a fictional character?
Right. It's something fun, something to kind of get some debate going and some conversation, but it's not necessarily something that the story is beholden to.
Right.
I've been really fortunate lately. My daughter is getting into the age of really enjoying starting to get me to read to her. and she's really fallen in love with the IDW comics because not only do they have a fun little story, but the art in them is just like so loud, and it just pops off the page, and she really enjoys that. So we've been having a lot of fun going through all the new books and just almost just looking at pictures, really, because she can't stay on a page long enough to let me read it to her.
No, how old is your daughter?
She's 4.5.
Oh, cool. That's cool. Yeah, my son is about that age, and he likes those comics as well. And it's fun. Sometimes I sort of had to condense what's being said, just either for, mild 4-year-old censorship or to just kind of get him to bed a little bit quicker. But they're fun. And of course, the comics are such a visual medium anyway. But the art, as you said, is really, really nice, really, really clean and expressive, and kind of reminds me, for people who are fans of the Batman animated series from the 90s, sometimes it kind of has sort of that Bruce Timm vibe to it, if that makes any sense. Yeah,
exactly. It's got that bubbly face and the kid-friendly art.
Yes, absolutely. Jason, anything else with what we've had to this point, and then where are we going forward?
Right. I think the only other, really significant piece of canon that's shown up in the last, say, 2 months has been a new series of Forces of Destiny shorts on the YouTube. And they're always kind of fraught with fun and maybe have something in them that's really interesting, and then maybe it's just a little filler. I think, and this is a little bit less of a canon thing and more of a kind of an interesting direction that they've taken. Force of Destiny has always been centered around the female heroine, and this is the first time we've gotten one story that was centered around Luke Skywalker. Yeah, which I thought was intriguing that they have decided to open up to all heroes. Maybe I'm sure that was probably their intention from the get go.
And you wonder how much of that is the fact that they could get Mark Hamill, and also what I think is interesting about Forces of Destiny, and I mentioned this other times as well. But when I'm watching this, I don't think, "Oh, there's a female hero." I just think there's a hero. I can't wait to see what she's going to do. And then when Luke was on, I just said, okay, there's Luke. There's another Star Wars story. And I was excited. And I love you, Luke and Yoda anyway, so that's easy. And then upon further reflection, I thought, oh my gosh, this was not, this didn't have a female main character. What does that mean? Well, what it means is that they're doing such a great job telling these stories. I'm not thinking about gender. I'm thinking more about storytelling and these characters and how powerful and dynamic they are. And to me, I would think that would be a major goal.
Surprisingly enough, my daughter did notice that there wasn't a female main character at 4 years old.
That's cool.
We watched them
more
back to back. It actually surprised me because, honestly, I was in your boat. I'm not looking at if it's a male or a female character. And Luke showed up in the first season, correct? He wasn't a main character, but he was in it. And I think I just see all characters as characters. It was interesting to see a 4-year-old actually notice that and point it out.
Well, I agree. I think that's pretty cool. I really like that. Did you both like season 2 of Forces of Destiny?
I really did. My favorite is probably season 2, episode 6, the Bounty Hunter episode with Maz Kanata and
oh yeah, when we get to see where the Bush costume comes from. Yeah, that was pretty brilliant.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite episode from season 2. Ford problem.
Yes.
You know what? I would have voted that for my top one as well, just because my son likes it so much, and I love porgs. Unabashedly, I'm a huge fan of them. It was cute, and it's one of those examples where this is how this can work when it's at its finest, and that is when they're telling stories within stories that don't distract or try to force too much into the main overall arc, and this one doesn't. Just a nice little pleasant distraction from her trying to get Luke Skywalker to train her and to get him off of Ashto. So that, to me, is when this show's at its finest.
Mm-hmm. Well, of course, we have to, before we leave storytelling, Star Wars is ramping up to a new film this May. And so everyone should, if they're not aware already, the Star Wars solo publishing effort is getting ready to launch this month with great fervor with the release of Last Shot on Tuesday, April 17th. We get both a prequel and a sequel story to the upcoming solo film. So I think it's going to be really good to see that come out, as well as all the wonderful solo stories and reprints of previous Han Solo comics and adaptations that are just going to start flooding the market as we get closer to this film.
It's going to be fun. I think there's going to be a huge resurgence in the Brian Daley Han Solo trilogy from the late 70s as well, and the 80s, which can never be a bad thing. And honestly, people may know this, but Pablo Hidalgo's favorite Star Wars stories from the novels is those Brian Daley novels. So if you see him, be sure to let him know on Twitter what you thought. I'm sure he'll just be thrilled that I asked people to do that. So let's go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, I'm going to share some audio and interviews from the Denny's solo event in Hollywood that I just came back from. This is Coffee with Kenobi.
This is Coffee with Kenobi. Oh, pass the cream, would you?
Coffee with Kenobi is sponsored by the Star Wars digital card trader collecting app from Topps. If you love Star Wars and love the excitement of chasing your favorite Star Wars collectibles, the Star Wars digital card trader collecting app from Topps is for you. Download the free app from iTunes or Google Play and collect your favorite images from the classic 1977 Star Wars cards to the Clone Wars, Star Wars Rebels, The Force Awakens, Rogue One, The Last Jedi, and much more. Collect and trade with friends new and old through the Star Wars digital card trader collecting app from Topps. These are the cards you're looking for. Another thing I really love is shaving with Harry's razors. The thing for me about Harry's razors is that it's so inconvenient to find a reasonably priced razor that doesn't cost an arm and a leg, and Harry's has that. Plus, they ship it to me whenever I want, and then I never have to worry about running out or missing the shave that I need to have. And it's great, too, because they stand behind the quality of their blades, but you also know that switching razors isn't an easy decision. So what they do is they created a trial offer for you, and you can claim yours by going to harrys.com/CWK family. Harry's founders were fed up with overpaying for expensive razors with unnecessary features because they know what great shave comes down to great blades. Made with sharp, durable steel that lasts, which is why they bought a factory that's been making some of the highest quality blades in the world for over 95 years. So by selling directly to you over the internet, Harry's can offer their blades at a price much lower than the leading brand, just $2 per blade compared to $4 or more. So it's a quality guarantee too. If you don't love your shave, let Harry's know within 30 days and they'll give you a full refund. Now, I'll be surprised if that happens, but knowing that it's there just shows you how much belief and faith they have in their product. Get a $13 value trial set that comes with everything you need for a close, comfortable shave. A weighted ergonomic handle, 5-blade razor with a lubricating strip and trimmer blade, rich lathering shave gel which smells fantastic, and you get a travel blade cover, which I just used when I went on my trip to Hollywood. So listeners of this show can redeem their trial set at harrys.com/CWK family. Make sure you go to harrys.com/CWK family to redeem your offer and let them know I sent you to help support this show. I want to take a moment here and talk about Patreon and what we're doing with Patreon. As I mentioned on the last show, we're going to have a brand new Patreon podcast for those who contribute $5 or more a month, and it's going to be a weekly show featuring myself, Corey Clubb, and Tom Gross talking about all things Star Wars. We're also going to throw in a lot of different elements of geek culture as well. I think it's really, really fun because when you're having these conversations, it's not as if they just stay purely on Star Wars. At least they don't for us. I mean, of course, 90% of it is going to be Star Wars related. Let's not get crazy here. But it is going to be a lot of fun, and we are going to record this one the second week in April, so you still got a little bit of time to sign up to make sure you get to be one of the first to listen to the very first show. But before we continue, I want to thank our Patreon contributors like Ben Elkington, Terry Lee, Dennis Keithley, Yancey Evans, Texas Diner, Aaron Harris, Angela Souse, Mediocre Jedi, Ben Brophy, Daz Davies, Tyler Wiggins, Christo Haling, Christian Dale, Jason Hall, Brian McKinney, Connie Shee, Mike Audette, Jared Cantor, BJ Smith, Eric Struthers, Nick Tico, and Mark Suter. As you know, with Patreon, there are so many different things you can get from Coffee with Kenobi's Patreon page. Like you get access to our lens, which is a behind-the-scenes look at Coffee with Kenobi, which is very much like Instagram, where I will post video or pictures of things, and they disappear after about 24 hours, but so make sure to check it pretty regularly. You also get recognition at the start of each show, like you just heard, access to our Discord page, and you could get a coffee mug, t-shirt, or maybe even more things, including hosting the show with me up to 4 times in 1 month. So be sure to check out the link in our show notes or webpage for more information.
We're all here this morning, our brand new collaboration with Lucasfilm and No Kid Hungry for the upcoming highly anticipated film Solo, a Star Wars Story. Anybody excited for that? So we're going to talk talk a little bit more about the specifics of our partnership on Solo: A Star Wars Story in just a bit, but I wanted to start with a bit of background into the Denny story first, because this partnership comes at a significant time for our brand, which is in the process of a revitalization that has touched literally every aspect of Denny's over the last few years. That revitalization story started in large part with the recent clarity of our brand positioning as America's diner, a no-pretenses type of place where all of America can enjoy their favorite diner food 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in a comfortable, welcoming environment with family, friends, and sometimes even complete strangers. That is the beauty of a diner and the unique DNA of Denny's. Our revitalization effort has also been driven by the recent amplification of our brand purpose, which is our love of feeding people. We are one of the unique brands in that our brand purpose came directly from our words of our founder, Harold Butler, who 65 years ago was asked why he got into the restaurant business, and he literally said these simple words: because I love feeding people. Refocus on this purpose has mobilized our brand across the Denny's family. There's now clarity in why we do what we do. We love to feed people. But importantly for us, feeding people means more than just serving food, although that's important. We focus on delivering on our brand purpose in three specific ways. We feed people's bodies by serving our guests their favorite classic diner dishes, whether it be morning, noon, night, or even late night. We feed people's minds to make them feel like they made a smart choice, and then to constantly reinforce that decision even in moments when they're not dining with us. We aim to get to their minds to ultimately then win their hearts through partnerships, social media content, or other engagement efforts like you see here today, both at the national level, but importantly also at the community level. And we feed people's souls by ensuring that the moments spent in our restaurants and engaging them with the Denny's brand are truly fulfilling for our guests, to help them make connections that recharge their day, every visit. Within this refocus on purpose and clarity of positioning, we have aggressively recommitted to improving the quality of our food to provide our guests with an even higher level of expectation when it comes to our menu. In fact, many of you may be surprised to learn that we have improved or changed over 85% of our menu entrees over the past several years. This new elevated menu includes quality and highly craveable dishes, all made to order and also featuring fresh produce sourced from local businesses. With our recent menu upgrades, we now offer items like wild-caught Alaskan salmon, USDA select steaks, hand-pressed 100% beef burgers, 7-grain bread options, turkey bacon, and many more fresher, better-for-you choices. I hope we're making you a little bit hungry here. We also have the last couple of years completely revamped one of our staple items, our pancake recipe, which are now made with real buttermilk, fresh eggs, and a hint of vanilla. In fact, before we introduced our new recipe, the data said most of our guests already thought our pancakes were good. But for us to deliver on our quality and value promise I just talked to you about, we owed it to them to take it from good to great. And it's that kind of mindset that has led to multiple other menu changes and continues to lead our revitalization efforts. While we've made tremendous investments in improving our menu, our commitment to serving quality food without sacrificing flavor or value is also reflected in our sourcing and dedication to sustainability. But it's not always what's in the food, but rather what isn't. So our menu no longer includes foods with partially hydrogenated oils, red or blue artificial dyes, or MSG. We also were the first family dining restaurant to commit to sourcing and serving 100% cage-free eggs, and focus on this area will continue in the future. Also, today, news, our brand new signature coffee, which is launching literally in our restaurants today, which all of you can also enjoy here later today, is now a higher quality Colombian blend made with 100% Arabica beans. We are proud to say it is UTZ certified as being grown and harvested in a sustainable way. Now, switching gears here for a second, we also have made a significant investment in addressing our physical space. To truly enjoy a meal, you have to enjoy where you're eating it, right? Our restaurants have undergone an aggressive remodeling program to be more modern, comfortable, and inviting. Our new design amplifies the idea of the next generation diner and the true openness of a diner to our guests. And by the end of 2018, we will have approximately 80% of our Denny's domestic system remodeled in this new image, reflecting a modernization of the diner experience. And we continue to evolve in other ways, including showing our leadership in the technology space. Last year, we were the first brand in family dining to develop a fully integrated platform for online and mobile ordering for takeout and delivery. Yes, you can now have your Denny's delivered, including those craveable pancakes and milkshakes even at 3 o'clock in the morning if you so desire. I see a couple heads nodding already. Very good. The Denny's On Demand launch was born from our aggressive vision of meeting the needs of our guests and future guests and feeding their stomachs exactly where they are, with the convenience they now want and expect. And I have to say, the response to this platform has been incredible. We now have delivery capabilities in over 50% of our restaurants, a number that continues to grow as delivery partner availability grows, and more of our guests experience Denny's On Demand. And as the category leader in mobile and online ordering, we continue to improve and innovate our Denny's On Demand platform. Just recently, a couple weeks ago, we announced the capability to voice order their favorite Denny's dish via Amazon Alexa. And more news will come on Denny's On Demand as we continue to grow this platform. So those are just a few examples of the work we're doing to revitalize this iconic Denny's brand. As you can see, we're proud of the output, and I'm pleased to say we've been able to achieve 7 consecutive years of positive sales growth by meeting the needs of our guests more and more aggressively. We're clearly not done, and things will only continue to get better. A big part of our strategy has been to turn heads in a way that gets people talking about Denny's. Sometimes with partnerships that surprise people, to get them to think about Denny's in a different way. Over the last few years, we've developed partnerships with brands like Hulu, Pandora, Amazon, BuzzFeed. We've attended the Consumer Electronics Show to spark ideas, and VidCon to meet one-on-one with YouTube influencers. We've been on the campuses of Facebook, Google, and Twitter for top-to-top meetings leading to various innovative partnerships. Partnerships that a few years ago people didn't expect from Denny's, but now they do. In recent years, we partnered with leading studios for partnerships around some of the world's biggest movies and shows, a roster that we're proud to say now includes Solo, a Star Wars story, which is why we're all here today. So you want to talk about Solo? Okay. When we discussed the opportunity to join forces with the team at Lucasfilm for the promotional campaign for Solo, a Star Wars story, we at Denny's didn't just want to do the basics. We knew that this would be an incredible opportunity to bring our guests and our fans of the iconic Star Wars franchise something truly unique. And for our team, we are truly excited to be part of the campaign behind what we know is going to be an absolutely amazing, amazing film. Speaking of which, I'm confident every one of you here today were just as excited as I was to see the first full teaser trailer for Solo, a Star Wars story a few weeks ago. Several may have watched it over and over in this room, right? But I thought it'd be great for all of us to enjoy it here, again, on the big screen at this incredible, incredible theater. So please take a look and enjoy.
I've been running scams on the street since I was 10. Flight Academy. Wearing a mind of my own. I'm going to be a pilot. Best in the galaxy.
Hey, kid. I'm putting together a crew. You in?
That's yes.
So as I mentioned, when we had the opportunity to collaborate on the promotional campaign for this film, we really wanted to do something unique, something really big. And what we saw at the heart of this campaign was the opportunity to work towards a greater good, and on the light side, if you will. That's what we believe sets this apart from a typical brand and movie studio partnership, using it, yes, to drive sales results from both sides, but even more importantly, to use it as a platform to also do good for society. I mentioned before our brand purpose of feeding people. Since 2011, Denny's has been fortunate to partner with No Kid Hungry, an organization whose mission aims to end childhood hunger in America by connecting kids to effective nutrition programs like school breakfast and summer meals. Together, we have raised more than $6.3 million for this important cause, including last year when we had Denny's raise $2 million for No Kid Hungry. And we are thrilled to take our partnership with No Kid Hungry to a whole new level with our campaign for Solo, a Star Wars Story. And truly, we believe it's easily going to far surpass anything we've done thus far. And here's why. As part of this campaign, we're giving our guests the opportunity to collect exclusive to Denny's limited edition trading cards featuring characters from Solo, a Star Wars Story. There are 12 character cards and 12 additional character foil embossed chaser cards available for collection. These trading card packs, which were produced by our partners at Tops, and include 2 character cards and a Denny's coupon, and each pack will be available in Denny's restaurants across the country for just $3. Only $3 with net proceeds of every sale going to No Kid Hungry. This is a great way, a powerful way for Star Wars fans to experience the film in a fun way and help in the fight against childhood hunger in the process. And we're thrilled to be able to partner with Lucasfilm and No Kid Hungry to give back in this way. And with that, I'd like to welcome Diana Hovey, Senior Vice President of Dine Out for No Kid Hungry, to the stage for a few words on their involvement. Diana.
Thank you, John. I tell you, we are so proud and so thrilled to be here today and to be part of this very unique promotion. Listening to you, I don't know, my stomach was growling, my heart was racing, hoping the mic's not picking up any of that. But at No Kid Hungry, we talk about the fact that it takes a lot of people to feed children. It takes every one of us contributing to make a difference in kids' lives. Today, 1 out of 6 kids in this country at times wake up and don't know where their next meal's coming from. In California, that's 1 out of 5 kids that wake up and don't know where their next meal is coming from. At No Kid Hungry, with the support of amazing partners like Denny's, its team members and guests, we've been able to, as John said, raise $6.3 million. $6.3 million to end childhood hunger in the U.S. You think about that, that's over 60 million meals for kids in need. This is providing breakfast after the bell in the classroom, after school meals, summer meals. We could not do any of this without the support of Denny's and its guests and team members everywhere. So again, thank you so much for allowing us to be part of this, to being such an amazing partner to No Kid Hungry. We're thrilled.
All right, one more round of applause for Diana and all the work that she's doing. Our exclusive trading cards and our efforts to support No Kid Hungry will be at the forefront of everything we do with this campaign, which will be a fully integrated effort across broadcast, digital, social, in-store merchandise, and of course on our menu. One of the campaign elements that I think we're most excited about, and one that we know Star Wars fans will love, is our national television spot. For years, our TV spots have focused almost entirely on our food. We've done it in fun and creative ways that only Denny's can, but the food has always been the star, as it usually should. We will always be loud and proud about our menu, including our menu inspired by the film, which we'll get to in just a minute. But here we also wanted to use the opportunity to create something even bigger that would draw attention to the mission of feeding hungry children. So when we started looking at what we could do for our TV spot, we knew we wanted to make it a truly authentic Star Wars experience, one that would ring true to the film and the legions of Star Wars fans everywhere. We did that by drawing inspiration directly from the film and the Star Wars universe we saw in the trailer just a little bit ago. In fact, we are so committed to making this a Star Wars quality production, we worked directly with Lucasfilm and Skywalker Sound for the spot. We also enlisted the help of acclaimed production designer Neil Lamont and Oscar-winning creature and special makeup effects supervisor Neil Scanlon to create an authentic Star Wars environment for the spot itself. For those of you, and I know some of you are aware, for those of you who may be unfamiliar, Neil Lamont and Neil Scanlon are among the best in the business of what they do. And both have worked on Star Wars films, including Rogue One and The Force Awakens. So as you'll see here now, our spot Ready to see the spot?
Yeah.
Our spot, which is set inside the lodge from Solo, a Star Wars story, features two young adversaries who imagine that they're squared off in a high-stakes card game as characters from the Star Wars universe, including Chewbacca and other characters from the actual film, like this two-headed character here. Watch for him around the booth. So here, for the very first time, I'm proud to debut our national TV spot, one that pays homage to the famous card game that put Han Solo at the helm of the Millennium Falcon, a spot we've named Hand of Sabacc.
Sure hope your hand's better than his. Why don't you worry about your own hand? Why don't I do this? I'm not giving Chewbacca. Got Han Solo? Done.
Collect all 12 exclusive trading cards and try a new movie-inspired menu only at Denny's. Solo, a Star Wars story, in theaters May 25th.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So as you can see, we purposely made it look very cinematic. Not your typical restaurant food commercial. We really pushed to capture the look and feel of the Star Wars universe in a way that we know fans of Star Wars and Denny's will love. And for us, it was all about the details, from the set, which was an exact replica of the lodge in Solo, a Star Wars story, to the characters in our spot. Remember that two-headed guy from the actual movie we just saw a bit ago? He was clearly in there as well. A really great detail is that the table where our young characters sit was an exact match to the one that Han and Lando will sit in the actual film. There are a ton of other details and Easter eggs in the spot, like Chewie there in the background and the cards our players are using in the scene. I definitely invite you all to give it a closer look after this and see what else you can find. While we're certainly excited about what we've been able to create with our national TV spot, this spot will run both nationally and locally and across multiple digital platforms. We have a truly integrated campaign that we know fans are going to love, and that includes our social channels. Fans can be sure that we'll deliver content related to the promotional campaign across our popular social channels, including Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and in a way that only we can at Denny's with our unique social media voice. Fans can also turn to our website at dennys.com and see a fully integrated campaign experience, including an exciting initiative we'll be kicking off on May 4th. That date may ring a bell. Stay tuned for more details on that. The experience also carries over to our online and mobile ordering platform, Denny's On Demand, where fans can order from our menu inspired by the film and even purchase our exclusive trading cards there. In store, we're introducing a great collection of Solo, a Star Wars story collector's cups, which will include characters from the film, characters from the film, and a Millennium Falcon topper. More to come. And obviously, oh, by the way, but most importantly, there's the food. We are a restaurant brand, so of course we're going to use this opportunity to give our guests some unique and exciting items at Denny's. As part of our campaign, we have an entirely new, bold menu inspired by Solo, a Star Wars story. For those looking for a big, bold burger, we have our Blaster Fire Burger. This burger features a hand-pressed 100% beef patty topped with Chipotle Gouda cheese, bacon, and a spicy ghost pepper sauce, and is served on a fresh brioche bun. We also have our Two Moons Skillet, our under 550 calorie light speed slam, and guests can even add Crystal Crunch rocks to any of our milkshakes to literally make them pop in your mouth. And the one dish I'm personally excited about is our co-reactor pancakes. We're Denny's, so of course we're going to have some great pancakes for this campaign. This new dish is a recipe in our Kraft Pancakes lineup, featuring two of our fluffy buttermilk pancakes topped with fresh strawberries, strawberry sauce, and whipped cream. Plus, and this will make it fun, a side of candied Crystal Crunch rocks, which will literally crackle and pop in your mouth. Not kidding. As you pour a pitcher of warm citrus sauce over them. So as you can all see, we've got a great campaign here as part of our collaboration with Lucasfilm and Solo, a Star Wars story. And I will say, We even have a few things that I haven't mentioned here that will be rolling out in the coming months, and look forward to sharing those with you very, very soon. And most importantly, we hold high hopes for this partnership and what it can do for feeding people, both at Denny's, but also giving back to hungry kids all over the galaxy. A special thank you to Lucasfilm and No Kid Hungry for their collaboration and passion for this partnership and for the greater cause of hunger relief. And with that, I will be more than happy to answer any questions a little bit later that any of you may have. But as we close, we thought it'd be great for all of you to experience for yourselves, yes indeed, our delicious co-reactor pancakes. After all, it wouldn't be a true Denny celebration without some Denny pancakes. So please come on up, enjoy, and thank you all for all your time.
We are here. Thank you for helping us, Charlie. We are here at the Denny's Solo event, right in El Capitan Theater. On the stage, we're having breakfast. I'm here with a myriad of huge Star Wars celebs here, so it's very, very exciting for me. I'm gonna go ahead and pass the mic around and have you all introduce yourselves.
Oh wow, this is gonna make it all the way around the table. Hey, I'm Riley. I do the Star Wars Report.
I'm Neil. I'm with Dork Side of the Force, which is fitting for me because I'm a big dork. So.
I'm Katrina, the assistant producer of Looking for Leia.
Hi, I'm Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net.
Hi, I'm Corey, First Order Transmissions at MakingStarWars.net.
Hey everybody, I'm Jermaine Lucier from IO9 and Gizmodo.
Awesome. So we had quite an interesting experience. We go in here and we're treated to in Oregon with some of the greatest Hollywood themes, of course, which is great. And then we got to see the presentation and the first showing of the spot that Denny's is running, which is really, really cool, especially because they're doing it for a good cause as well. What do you guys all think of this thing?
I thought it was really well put together. I was really excited to hear that there were creatures by Neil Scanlon in the spot, and so I love that. And I love the two little boys who were all dressed up as Han and Lando. Really good Disney bounds in the other shots of them. So good stuff.
Yeah, for me, the thing I'm looking forward to most about Solo is the Sabacc game.
Yes.
So I'm really going to push for them to license one with actual rules and all that kind of stuff. But I geeked out when I saw that on screen. I'm pretty excited for it.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite part because you have these sort of iconic moments of legend in Star Wars. So the fact that we got our own very Denny's taste of it, pun intended. Yeah. But it was really cool. Also, I'm still just kind of lingering on the strawberries I just consumed. The strawberries were really good. I mean, the TV spot was good. Pancakes are even better.
Yeah, we're all having these strawberry pancakes with some sort of what would you say the syrup is?
Citrus.
Some sort of citrusy thing. And check the menu. Check the menu, Jason. Thank you. And you put little pop rocks on it, essentially, and it worked. I mean, you could hear it. It sounded like we were all eating Rice Krispies at the table, I thought as well.
Warm citrus sauce.
Warm citrus sauce.
Crystal Crunch rocks.
Crystal Crunch rocks. Well, there you go. That is as official as it's going to get. And they also showed us the trading cards that they're going to have, and the proceeds for this go to feed hungry children. And again, that's the most important thing that I've seen them do, and it's great. It's really great. I also like the Falcon cups with the tops, the cup lids with the Falcon on it. What do you think of all of this?
I'm really, you guys already covered all the cool stuff about the Sabacc. That was like a preview for the movie almost, but I was waiting for another trailer. But they're really going hard with the Pop Rocks, which is kind of fun. Not only is it on these pancakes, but you can get it on a shake and stuff. So I guess when you're thinking sci-fi, you think Pop Rocks? It's kind of fun. It's kind of cool. I like it, but it's weird. It's definitely weird to eat Pop Rocks with your breakfast.
It is. Corey, you're a busy man, but what did you think about all this?
No, yeah, it's awesome. We got some trading cards, too, here, which we got, now I don't know where they are. But
Great, Corey. I've got them.
You got them, but there's 12 cards, I think, and here they show Han Solo, Chewbacca, Lando, Range Trooper, and Kira. So they're pretty cool, made by Topps. And we get to keep these menus, which are pretty cool. So, yeah, I'm allergic to strawberries, so I can't enjoy my pancake, but I'm sure it's good. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, I want to echo what Katrina said, that being able to see the Neil Scanlon stuff in maybe a different, brighter light than we will in the movie a little bit and stuff like that, that's always rad. Do you remember back in the early 80s when Richard Pryor did that Star Wars special, and you could see the cantina masks, some of them that were used from the film, in just way different setting? Kind of nice, but that set looked really great, though.
Yeah. It did, and you mentioned the costumes and those kids, and when I saw that Han Solo jacket that young man was wearing, I thought, dude, I need one of those. Yeah, surely someone's going to sell those in some way, shape, or form. But it had a very cinematic feel to it, which was obviously the design and the purpose. Seeing Chewbacca there, it was really, really classy, really well done. So we're gonna take a quick little break here, but we're gonna come back and talk a little bit more about Solo and this amazing Denny's event. This is Coffee with Kenobi. So we're here with Diana Hovey, and she is spearheading something amazing that Denny's is doing to help promote Solo, a Star Wars story. But it's so much more important than this movie. Go ahead and tell me what's going on.
We're thrilled to be partnering with Denny's with their partnership with the new Star Wars film. Denny's will be selling the Star Wars trading cards in all their locations, and proceeds from those Star Wars trading cards will benefit No Kid Hungry. No Kid Hungry is an organization created to end childhood hunger in the U.S. 1 out of 6 kids are battling hunger. In California, it's 1 in 5. And with Denny's support, we're gonna end childhood hunger.
When I saw the presentation, when you said that, I just got choked up, as I said, being a dad and being a teacher. I think it's so great. It's not often that you see things like this happening. I mean, obviously you're pushing a major film, you're trying to build product, but you're doing something that's actually meaningful and important. I mean, kids, and there's nothing more important than that.
Yeah. It's hard to believe that hunger like that exists in this country. And this isn't just inner cities. It isn't just rural communities. It's everywhere in this country. Every community, every congressional district. And to have a partner like Denny's, who's come to the table, if you think about it, over the last 8 years, Denny's has raised over $6 million to help end child hunger.
It's amazing. So it really is amazing. So tell me how it works. When we purchase the trading cards, how does that funnel back to children?
Yeah. So with every purchase of the Star Wars trading cards in Denny's, a portion of those proceeds comes to No Kid Hungry. That in turn allows us the funds to work with schools all across the country, work with local organizations that help do things like breakfast in the classroom, after school meals, summer meals, where kids are sometimes at their hungriest.
That is so cool. So the best way that we can help support your cause is to go to Denny's, right?
Absolutely. Go to Denny's, and you'll have some amazing, amazing new products. Their blaster pancakes, unbelievable. Yeah.
Hey, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
We're here with John Dillon, who is so crucial to this amazing campaign for Denny and Solo, a Star Wars story. Tell us kind of how that came about and why this is such a beautiful merger.
Yeah, we've been talking to Disney for a number of years about working together in a particular way and waiting for the right fit. And when this came across, we said, how can we make it work? And really, we made it work when we added this element of giving back to society, this element of No Kid Hungry, and being able to use it to drive, sales for us and Disney, but also importantly to give back to society with, proceeds of our trading cards, benefiting No Kid Hungry and hungry kids everywhere. That was the magic, I think, about what made this work.
As a teacher and a father of 3 boys. When you said those statistics about kids hungry, I got so choked up.
Absolutely.
And so the fact that you're taking, we're promoting a film, we're promoting a product, a delicious product.
Thank you.
But the fact that you're doing something that's so important and changes kids' lives and helps them, gives them hope. I mean, how perfectly Star Wars is that, and how amazing that you're doing that.
It's the light side. It's the Force in a good way, right? This is what it's all about. So we're thrilled to be able to do it.
Absolutely, and I got to say, being Coffee with Kenobi, coffee was very, very good.
Good. I'm glad you liked that. 100% Arabica beans, Colombian blend, and sustainable. So all important elements, but we're thrilled to launch that as well.
It was excellent. I had 2 cups myself. I'm usually just a 1-cup guy, but this was so good I had to drink it in, literally and figuratively.
Glad to hear.
Hey, thank you so much for being on Coffee with Kenobi.
You, absolutely. Thanks for your time.
Greetings. This is Obi-Wan Kenobi, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi.
Let me give you a task. Pick out a wine that you're going to love, but there is a catch. It has to be one you haven't had before. Now, where would you start? Introducing Winc, spelled W-I-N-C. Winc's name actually comes from the combination of wine plus incorporated, so you have wine plus ink equals Winc. Winc makes it easy to discover a great wine. Because Winc's wine experts select wines matched to your taste, personalized for you, and shipped right to your door, starting at just $13 a bottle. Winc makes exploring new wines fun and easy, with delicious wine based on your taste, delivered right to your doorstep every single month. There's really nothing like that first time you come home to a box of 4 bottles of wine selected just for you. All you have to do is you fill out Winc's palate profile quiz. You'll answer simple questions like, how do you take your coffee? How do you feel about blueberries? Things like that. And then Winc will send wines curated to your tastes. The more wines you rate, the more personalized your monthly selections. And each month there are new, delicious wines like the insanely popular Summer Water Rosé. There are no membership fees. You can skip any month and you can cancel anytime. Plus, shipping is covered. And if you don't like a bottle they send you, they will replace it with a bottle you love. No questions asked. With online ordering, quick shipping, and personalized recommendations, Winc makes discovering wine really, really easy, and you're going to love it. You're also going to love the Winc Journal, which is included with every wine each month. It gives you recipes to pair with your wines, info about the selections curated for you, and it has a great design, making it perfect for the coffee table. It's really, really easy to go to a store and settle for the same old bottle of wine that you like, and it leaves you kind of but it's so much easier to let Winc ship wine right to your door that is perfectly matched for you. So sit back and relax or celebrate with your glass. You have finally discovered the best way to find new wines that you'll love with Winc. Discover great wine today. Go to trywinc.com/CWK family and you'll get $20 off your first shipment. That's trywinc.com/CWK family, all one word, for $20 off. trywinc.com/CWK family.
The Star Wars Digital Card Trader collecting app features incredible images from many aspects of the saga, including the original trilogy, the prequels, the Clone Wars, Rebels, The Force Awakens, and Rogue One. It's the quality you have come to expect from Topps. It's also easy to get into and really fun too. Your favorite Star Wars characters, scenes, and moments are in every pack. To get started, download the app for free from iTunes or Google Play, and then be sure to open the app each day for free credits to spend on card packs from the Cantina. Plus, if you can't get what you're looking for, there's a place to trade with your friends as you complete your Star Wars collection. And if you're an experienced collector, there are exclusive cards, special inserts, and autograph opportunities for you to enjoy. Don't worry about missing the cards and sets you want either, as you can sign up for notifications right on the app. The Star Wars Digital Card Trader collecting app from Topps can be downloaded for free from iTunes or Google Play. Be sure to download the app and start your collection today. The Star Wars Digital Card Trader collecting app from Topps is available now. And remember, these are the cards you're looking for.
We're back, and something exciting happened today. And I don't know if exciting is the right word, but it's definitely something that's going to cause a lot of consternation and conversation, which is really sometimes some of the most fun you can have when you're talking about Star Wars. And there's no one more entertaining to introduce these topics to us than Mr. Tom Gross. Welcome back, Tom.
Oh, well, thanks. It's great to be here. And Dan, you're right. Some light has been shed, or maybe that light has cast a darker shadow on the lineage of Rey's parents, right? In an interview this week on Witz's show, Happy, Sad, Confused, actor Simon Pegg discussed everything from Steven Spielberg's hit Ready Player One to some Star Trek news, as well as Star Wars. Now, in the discussion, Rey and her parentage come up, and Pegg replies in regards to Rey's heritage, quote, "I know what JJ kind of intended." And then he goes on to say that he feels that it has all been undone slightly in the last one, referring to, of course, The Last Jedi and Rian Johnson. Then he says, I don't know, and concludes by saying that Unkar Plutt is Rey's father. Now, Horowitz and Pegg joke about Unkar Plutt and his attempt to keep Rey thin by giving her small portion sizes. But then Horowitz comes back to the topic, asking more specifically if there were other parental heritage ideas that have been discussed during on-set chit-chatting sessions. Pegg says that there was some talk about a relevant lineage but he doesn't know, and he doesn't know if anyone knows. Then they go on to talk about Lucas and his vision, what Lucas's vision might have been, some prequel conversation, and Peg's disinterest in being cast in Star Wars again, among many other things.
His disinterest in being cast in Star Wars again?
Yeah, it's not, okay.
That might be the most annoying thing he's ever said.
As I was reading that, I'm not sure it came across quite right. His whole thing was that his dream, of course, had always been to be in a Star Wars film. But then because he was in it, he learned all about it. And so when the film came out, he knew all of the surprises and everything. And so he said that was kind of like, it was like a little,
fair. Yeah.
So that's that. I apologize. The ending of my story kind of gave the wrong impression. So that's what he means when he says his disinterest. He just doesn't want to have those surprises spoiled again.
Well, you've still got the gig, so no worries.
All right.
So go ahead.
I've never heard of an actor that didn't like movie magic. It doesn't make any sense.
I kind of see what he means, though. When Steve Sansweet, the first time Steve was on, he said that one of the things he liked about these newer films is he didn't know anything about them, so he could go to the theater as a fan. Very similar, because he worked on the prequels. He was in charge of fan relations, and he did a lot of stuff with the website, and he was in on all of the stuff with the prequels, so he was very aware. And then you talk to George Lucas, and he'll say that it's fun for him to see these newer films because he gets to enjoy them as a fan, which he probably never thought he was going to do, because since he created Star Wars. So I get that aspect of it. But let's talk about this whole parents Rey thing. Now, whether Rian Johnson's move kind of subverted the course of what JJ had in mind or whatever is completely irrelevant, because that's the gig, right? When you're telling these stories, you take what's gone before and you have carte blanche to do whatever you want with it. Now, the story group will kind of help guide you with certain facts about characters and directions and say things like, oh, maybe don't talk about this because it might be a story later, but they don't tell you what to do. You know what I mean? So I think it's sort of unfair to say that, unless it's just sort of a speculation like, oh, wow, this kind of took it for a loop. But, that's okay. That's kind of the deal. And JJ can bring it back to wherever he wants because he's in charge of episode 9 and he wrote the script along with some help, of course. But I don't think this is a story. I think this is just sort of an obvious thing that happens in storytelling. But anything involving Rey and her parents is always such a big news. And I still maintain it doesn't matter who her parents are. I mean, that's the point. The point is she gets to create her own legacy. She doesn't have to be defined by what came before. I think that's a very, very healthy lesson. And I'm still a little surprised that people are struggling with that.
I wouldn't mind seeing who Rey's parents are. I've been in the boat of basically asking every single one of our guests over on the Chance Cube at the end who they think Rey's parents are. And I've had some awesome answers, but that would be amazing if the actual answer was Ungar was the father. Oh, and dear. That's why she got small portions. That's great.
The answer is there you go. The answer is they're junk traders. They died in the desert in Jakku. They were drunkards. That's the answer. I mean, that's all we got. Of course, Kylo is full of crap, I'm sure. But if that's what it ultimately is,
manipulator.
Okay. Oh, there's no doubt about that.
I think that nothing was. I would be interested to see what they think was undone with what Kylo said. I'm curious to see what direction they were thinking about going, because we don't know. We don't know what was undone, which is very interesting. And I don't think anything could have been undone. They could still take the story any way they want to go.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Jason, what about you?
I knew you were going to say that.
Well, it's
Jason, what are your thoughts?
I'm trying it helps as a host to do that.
Oh, well, I should take some pointers.
Yeah. Write this down, would you?
That's why I like being the host and not the guest. No, I'm just kidding. It's interesting to think about when we consider the vastness of Star Wars, and a lot of us are grounded in the idea that episodes 1 through 6 were very, when we think about them 3 and 3, but the 3 and 3 were connected by the Skywalker thread. And now I think there's just a challenge for people to think that, 7, 8, 9 is not as tied, or maybe, the tie is Kylo, the tie is not Rey, or is it? And I think that's just hard for people not to see the good guy being the one tied back to this history and heritage.
What about Leia and Luke? I mean, they're central to episode 7 and 8. They're Skywalkers.
They're central to, I think they're central, but they're not, I don't know. I've never seen them as
not,
like
quote, the main character.
Right. Yeah. They're not, they don't feel like the main character.
Right.
And I look to see that as once they can really expand out the vastness of the universe, and we can develop, not only do we have Rebels and we have these ancillary characters that are coming out, but the more horizontally we can expand the story, I think the more we can feel, or I should say maybe vertically, horizontally, I don't know which way, the more the fatter the story can get.
There you go. Expansive.
The less expansive, the less like the idea that Snoke could be just a random new villain that showed up when he doesn't need to connect to anybody else. Like, the more that can be palatable. I think right now it's hard because we want all these connections to tie back, because right now we have an overwhelming majority of our Star Wars films tying back to these people.
But
and now we've got this central heroine figure, and people want her to tie to something. And right now we don't have that answer, and people still think there is going to be one.
But see, this is the thing. There was no connective tissue for about, I don't know, 6 years, between episode 4 and episode 6. It wasn't there. It didn't exist. And everyone was fine with that. But now we're just in a kind of a place where everything has to be wrapped up in a nice little bow. And I don't know. For me, like, I like that Snoke is just a nobody, because for one thing, he's Snoke. He's not the Emperor. Just because they're both sinister and they're not nice and they are in charge of somebody who has a black cape doesn't mean they're the same or have to have the same kind of importance to the story.
I would be curious to know generationally, like what people like us feel versus people who are introduced to Rey as their hero and, Finn and Poe Dameron, because I feel like we're just sort of in a hangover of connectivity because we have 6 movies. Jason, and you, I'm just repeating what you said. You have 6 movies where everything is connected, and you have leftover. Okay, wait. I just referred to Han, Leia, and Luke as leftovers, but this isn't their story, as we've talked about many times. And so and personally, I'm over this doesn't have to have a connection. This can be just moving forward and a brand new story. And so I don't know. I like that we have these conversations. These are great conversations, and it builds the galaxy and the story. But it sounds like we're very close on the same page of there doesn't necessarily have to be that connection.
Yeah, if it's there, great. But if it's not, like, it's great having a conversation with the three of you, because we all have, something we believe, and we all have, a way that we want to sort of explore it. And I think that's wonderful. I think that is one of the great things about being a Star Wars fan, is exploring these different concepts and theorizing and connecting these tissues together. That's great. But it always kind of puts me back a little bit when there are people that just can't get past it and won't accept it. Right now, that's the way that it is. And that's okay. Let the story evolve. This is the middle of the book. You don't want everything ruined in the middle of the book. Otherwise, there's no reason to go through to the end.
Yeah, I love it. Well, let's move on to story number 2. The Disney Parks blog announced this week that the Star Wars Galactic Nights event that will be held on May 27th at Disney's Hollywood Studios, which, by the way, is just 2 days after the release of the Han Solo film, will be inspired by, drumroll please, Solo, a Star Wars story. The first and most excellent feature of this event will be a special visit from Jonas Sotano, who we have come to know and love as Chewbacca. The Galactic Nights event Star Wars Far, Far Away presentation will debut new video moments from Solo, and the nighttime projection show called Star Wars A Galactic Spectacular will debut new action from a scene in Solo as well. Of course, all of the events that fans of Galactic Nights have come to expect will be there, including entertainment, special photo opportunities, and all of the unique, wonderful merchandise to mark your visit.
Well, I've made no secret about how much I love Galactic Nights, and because I went to the first one night, it was just amazing. It was basically everything I loved in one of my favorite places in the world, with some of my favorite people that I get to hang out with, and it was just great. If I could go to every single one of these, I would. Jason, you have a very cool, unique perspective because you're a huge fan, but you also have a stronger connection to the theme park. So when you hear about something like this, what kind of goes through your mind?
How many hours I'm going to have to work to get ready for it?
Well,
we were talking before the show. I'm actually going to be with Mike Hill in San Francisco that weekend, so I will not actually be around for Galactic Nights. But it's always great because I'm fortunate enough to be able to separate my work from my love of Star Wars and fandom. So when I see Galactic Nights is coming, me and my wife went to the last one, as guests, and enjoyed every minute of it. And like you said, Dan, it's a little bit of everything. And I love how these events are really taking all age groups into account. Even this last one, we were able to visit all the different, they had like 8 or 9 different photo locations, and they tapped every single film. And then there was Malachor with the Seventh Sister. I was like, that's pretty cool. We're even pulling from Rebels to get us some great moments for us to experience. And that was one of the longer photo lines, because I think, Rebels has a huge impact on people. So it was really great to see that.
It does. Some of our most popular shows throughout the history of Coffee with Kenobi are Rebels heavy shows. And to me, that's sort of a little bit of a measuring stick. The Seven Sister debuted at the very first Galactic Nights. That was during Celebration Orlando in 2017. And it was, at that point, she was pretty new to the canon. And now that she sort of had a chance to kind of simmer and be out there, it's neat to see that. And Jason, one of the things that I love about Galactic Nights and anything Star Wars related at the parks is the merchandise. What kind of goes into prepping for something like that?
In terms of what?
Like as a cast member and just kind of stocking things and just kind of like, is it usually a lot, or does it just kind of depend?
In terms of the work,
the types of different new merchandise that's exclusive or something.
Oh, like yeah, that's all dependent upon the type of event, how many guests are planning on seeing. Especially if it's specific and branded to a certain thing. We've always seen, just generally from these things, you're always going to get a good T-shirt, and you're always going to get a good Disney trading pin. And maybe a lanyard or two, and maybe a new glow item. I mean, there's all sorts of options now. There's just so much product type that people love to see and do, and it's fun to watch this stuff come out, because the merchandise teams work really hard to get this product to the market as quick as they can for these events, and make sure there's enough of it, because that's always the biggest challenge, right? Is to make sure there's enough for everybody who wants one without making so much that it either devalues it, or it's we got too much we can't get rid of. Right. Well, and hopefully the most important thing, or the most exciting to me, is always the new coffee mugs, of course. I'm getting quite a collection now. I'm pretty excited.
Well, I always love doing stories about those, because I love hearing all of your stories about those events, because I always learn something new, and those are fun. So, well, we'll wrap things up today with, hey, May the 4th is a month away, and LEGO is not going to disappoint with the release of a beautiful new Ultimate Collector Series Y-Wing. Retailing at $199, it is a large, detailed, and very displayable. It is 2 feet long and a foot wide, and stands 9 inches up on a display stand. The ship comes with a Rebel pilot, of course it's Gold Leader, in the orange flight suit, and a black astromech droid R2BHD, and all of the intricate details that one would expect from a UCS LEGO set. For any fan who enjoys good-looking Star Wars LEGO set, this is a great one. But for those who love the Y-Wing, you've got to check out the images right there on Coffee with Kenobi's website under News and Information.
Now, what makes this Y-Wing Lego so unique and special? Is it more complicated? Is it more expensive? Is it more detailed? Or is it just another kind of a re-release?
I will just say, by looking at the images, that this is highly detailed in the mechanics of the engines and the rear portion of it. I look at all the unique pieces that must have been created for this particular vehicle. It just has all of the mechanics to the Y-wing that I just think are beautiful in detail.
So it's much more of like a collector level thing. Mike or Jason, are you guys Star Wars Lego people?
Yeah, I do a ton of Lego stuff, and the thing that kind of separates UCS is the limited availability. A lot of the times, the blocks come in different colors that you will not find in any other set, and that's kind of a big deal. Like the most expensive Lego ever is a Statue of Liberty set because they only made the block color for one set, which is kind of an interesting tidbit. It's cool. Yeah, it's only because of the blocks makes it so, and that was a UCS. And then also the detail, not only on the outside, you'll get some different shape blocks, and then you'll also get more detail inside of the ship too. So like along with the engine parts and stuff like that. So that's really what makes the UCS. And at $199, that is an extremely reasonable collector series set. So I will definitely be picking this up. It is a beautiful Y-wing. I really look forward to it.
Oh, cool. Well, when you get it, if you want to do a review for the website, I'd love to have you.
Yeah, for sure. I really enjoy that.
And UCS, does that stand? Maybe you already said this, Tom, so I apologize. But does that stand for Ultimate Collector Series?
Yes.
That's what I figured. Did you say that, Tom?
Yes.
Okay. There you go. I'm going to blame it on jet lag. All right, Tom, anything else?
No, that's everything we've got. You know what? If I could, just throw in one more thing. I don't have an official story written for it, but Dan, I know that you've talked about Denny's quite a bit here lately. But I just want to say, I went to the Denny's page where they've got the commercial that they've created for the trading cards, and they started off in the whatever, it's a cantina of some sort, and Chewbacca's there, and they've got the two kids dressed as Solo and Lando, and they're wheeling and dealing the cards. I just want to say, I appreciated that so much because I remember trading cards in almost that exact same style as a kid, and I never see kids do that anymore. So I hope, if anything, this commercial and this promotion, of course, I wanted to do well for the philanthropical. Is that even a word? For the what is it? It's the No Child Go Hungry or
yes.
Yeah. Yes. Of course, I want it to do well for that, but I hope it also gets a spirit of trading cards and value and things like that, and gets kids excited about that collecting.
That's an interesting aspect I didn't realize. Yeah, the commercial that he's talking about is one that we've talked about in the last segment, and then we're going to hear more of a detailed review from me on the next segment coming up. But yeah, they've really gone above and beyond with these. And another nice thing about these cards is that they revealed names of brand new characters from Solo that had not been released until then. As far as the location too, it's a tavern of sorts, and you've heard the Denny's CEO talk about it on the show on the previous segment, but they replicated the one that's in the film. So what you're seeing is pretty close to what you're going to see in the final product, as far as Lando and Han playing sabacc to see who wins the Falcon.
Cool.
Nice.
It's pretty fantastic. They were very excited. And Neil Scanlon worked on this commercial too. So it's coming from a pretty strong place. Well, Tom, thank you so much, and appreciate your energy and enthusiasm as always. Where can people find you on Twitter?
Oh, on Twitter, you can find me at Draftline. And then on Instagram, I am Cycling Librarian.
All right, excellent. Well, we're going to go ahead and take a break, and when we return, I'm going to share my reflections from the Denny's Solo event, as well as my review of the Scum and Villainy Cantina and Star Wars Secrets of the Empire and that amazing experience. This is Coffee with Kenobi.
Coffee, tea, or me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's Coffee with Kenobi.
Coffee with Kenobi was sponsored by the Star Wars digital card trader collecting app from Topps. If you love Star Wars and love the excitement of chasing your favorite Star Wars collectibles, the Star Wars digital card trader collecting app from Topps is for you. Download the free app from iTunes or Google Play and collect your favorite images from the classic 1977 Star Wars cards to the Clone Wars, Star Wars Rebels, The Force Awakens, Rogue One, and now The Last Jedi. Collect and trade with friends new and old through the Star Wars digital card trader collecting app from Topps. These are the cards you're looking for. During today's coffee chat, I'm going to be talking at length about my experiences this past weekend in Los Angeles and Hollywood, California for the Denny's Star Wars event. And you will probably notice the background noise is myself driving home from the airport. This continues a tradition that Corey and I started back at Celebration Anaheim in 2015 when we were driving home. And there are two reasons that we did it, and two reasons I'm doing it now. One, it's just good to get immediate thoughts right after the experience, fresh from the event. And also, it's rather late, so I am making this also helps me to stay awake, which is definitely a good thing. And of course, I do have some coffee with me, so that's going to help as well. I flew out to Denny's, and a huge thank you to Denny's for inviting me on this trip and for taking care of all the travel arrangements, and just really, they were just very gracious. Their PR and everyone there were just wonderful. They want us to watch the brand new spot for Denny's solo promotional, and I'm assuming by now that you've seen the spot. It's beautiful. It's a similar set to what we're going to see in the film. There's young actors who are playing the roles of Han and Lando as they're playing Sabacc. And this is, of course, the legendary game, allegedly or presumably, where Han wins the Falcon. And, man, the costumes on this thing, and Neil Scanlon came on board and with the creature designs, and Chewbacca is there. And it's just got a nice feel. It's just really cinematic and really slick. I'm really impressed with what they did. I really enjoyed it a lot. But that was sort of, that was like kind of one of the highlights. They also, and this was all, by the way, at the El Capitan Theater, which is actually right across from where I stayed. My wife and I stayed when I was in the Target commercial, so that was kind of cool to go back to that spot, although I certainly missed Mrs. Z. There's no doubt about that. But it was at the El Capitan Theater, and this is a big theater for Disney. They have a lot of premieres there for some of their amazing films that they do. So I was in that theater, and they showed the Solo trailer, with the trailer that we've all seen. But it was cool to hear it with the sound system in the El Capitan, which is gorgeous. And speaking of sound system, we walk in, there was an organist there playing basically a lot of the themes. And you heard me talk about that when I had everybody on, when I had all the other podcasters and Star Wars influencers on that were a part of this experience as well. So I won't go into that again. But again, I'm just so moved by the fact that they're doing this and it's helping to feed children. It's terrible that this is a thing that we have to do, but we do. It's a reality of the world, and the fact that they're doing it, and they're really smart about it. And they're giving you a quality trading card out of the whole thing, or trading cards. There's 12 of them, and then this proceeds go to helping children. And you heard earlier how actually that works. But the night before that, the night I got in, my brother-in-law picked me up, and he and I went to the Scum and Villainy Cantina. And my brother-in-law is Bill. You've heard him on our Carrie Fisher show when Carrie had passed, and you've heard him on our Rogue One review show that we did as well, or the immediate Rogue One show that we had that was sponsored by Nissan back when that film came out in December of 2016. And it was a few blocks down from my hotel. So this is the Scum and Villainy Cantina, and the premise here, and Melinda Wolf, our featured blogger, did a review of it on Coffee with Kenobi that you should check out. Really cool and get good pictures as well. But it's a bar. I mean, it's just a bar, but the booths and the atmosphere and the bar itself and the large booths, which you saw photos of on Coffee with Kenobi's Twitter and Instagram pages, it just looks like you're in A New Hope in Mos Eisley. And wow, that was cool. I actually had something like carbonite queso. It was good. It was just, chips and queso, nothing that you would necessarily say, oh, you've got to go and try the queso. But it was still just cool to be there and to experience it. And Bill and I were there, and a good friend of his named Dutch, we worked on a show with, the Penn and Teller show. He's a prop guy, and he's doing some really, really cool stuff in this field, and he's going to be on a future show at some point because he was fascinating to listen to and to talk to, and the guy knows his stuff and his film history, and it was just great to talk about how impactful props are in film, and we know this to be true. I mean, look at lightsabers, look at the Ark from Raiders, the Maltese Falcon, a lot of those things came up, and it was a great conversation. That ended up being a rather late night just because I had landed late in LA as it was as well, but it was great to catch up with my brother-in-law. And then I went back, went to sleep, woke up the next day, got a quick workout in, went across and got some coffee, because you got to do that in the morning, And then I got ready, and it was time for the Denny's event. But actually, on my way to get coffee, I ran into Riley Blanton of the Star Wars Report. Now, Star Wars fans know Riley and know the Star Wars Report very well. And I've, run into Riley a couple times at celebrations and said hello. We've been on each other's shows and things like that. But I never really got a chance to hang out with him. And maybe one of the best things that come out of this trip was getting to know him, hanging out with him, and we kind of swapped some trade secrets and had some conversations about our shows, and that was worth everything, the whole trip. It was great fun. He's a really cool guy. He knows what he's talking about, and he's very smart. So we go to the event, and I see Jason and Corey from Making Star Wars, and that's cool. And those two are guys that also been on their shows and ran into them at celebrations, but I never actually got to talk with them for a long period of time, and I was really glad to do that. And just really fun. They're awesome. Jason and I have talked quite a bit, but this is the longest he and I actually got to hang out and share some laughs, and that was really cool. And then I turned around and Riley's there again, and then I got to hang out with Dork Side of the Force, and he was a really awesome guy, really, really nice. And I really appreciate, he was really, really complimentary of the show and how things have been going, and I appreciate that. And it's really nice to get feedback like that from your peers, because they produce such great quality stuff, and they're passionate about this as well. So it's very, very, very nice. I did a ton of stuff on Instagram and Insta Story, but I also did a lot of stuff on Patreon and on the Lens feature, because I want to give our Patreon listeners a little bit more behind the scenes stuff. So that was a lot of Patreon. There were some pictures and images, of course, a lot of them, but there's also me talking one-on-one with our Patreon contributors, so I appreciate that. I really like that so well, and I've gotten so much good feedback that I think that's going to be something more regular that I do. I don't go to LA every weekend, which is good. I think that would be very, very, very difficult, although it is a lot of fun. But I do like that behind-the-scenes stuff, so I need to be more cognizant of that, because I think that's rewarding. So then the last thing that we did, and this was just kind of a last-minute thing, I had in my mind, I knew, thanks to Matt Martin, that in Glendale, they have the Void Secrets of the Empire there, which is that amazing virtual reality experience. And I've never done it. It's not been in existence that long. It's only a couple places around the globe, both Disney parks on the coast, and there's a one in London right now, and then Glendale. They just opened a few more around the world. But Riley and I were walking back because they put us all up at the same hotel, and I said, "Hey, dude, I got a little bit of time before I catch my plane. You want to go see Secrets of the Empire?" And he's like, "You mentioned Star Wars and doing something. Of course I want to." And now he had already done it at Disney World, but he was perfect to go on this with, because even though he knew what was happening, he didn't tell me a thing. And obviously everyone knows I don't like spoilers anyway. So that was really fun. He and I met there, and it's wow, it is so stinking cool. You walk in, and they said, "Are you Dan? We've been expecting you," which of course they only knew because I made a reservation. But it was just kind of a fun tone. It's all part of the story, and anything that's involving Disney or Disney's other companies. The Void isn't a Disney company, but obviously they got permission from Disney and they work together. So there's quality. There's quality there. You walk in, you put on this vest, and you have to buckle it in 3 or 4 places, and then there's these red straps you pull, and then you put on the helmet and you adjust where the helmet is, and then your sort of your line of vision. And it is absolutely immersive. The only sense that you don't get from this whole thing is taste, but everything else is completely there. So Riley and I walk into this room, and I won't spoil the whole experience, but this is what I will say. It is awesome. It is one of the coolest things I've done, Star Wars or otherwise, because this is virtual reality has come such a long way, and it isn't the kind of virtual reality that you feel motion sick or anything weird like that. It isn't the kind of virtual reality where you feel motion sick or anything of that nature. Here's the rain again, so I'll try to talk a little bit louder into the microphone. But you walk through, and there's different things that you see, and K2SO is basically your commander, and he's leading you around and telling you what to do and giving you hints, because you're disguised as stormtroopers. And so the first thing I did, when the thing starts, I turned to look at Riley, and I saw a stormtrooper, and I actually kind of felt myself jump back a bit, and I thought, whoa, there's a stormtrooper in front of me, but he's waving. So he and I, once we had our bearings, the guy was doing the running man dress, with the stormtrooper gear on, and it's all virtual, but like you hold up your hands and you can see your stormtrooper armor and the glove, and every stormtrooper has a different color, so you know who's who. Man, it's breathtaking. And then at some point, you get a blaster, and it's not like you visualize you're holding a blaster. You get a blaster. Like, Riley handed me one, and it was so crazy because I actually, I saw it and I held it, and I'm like, wow, I'm holding a blaster. And it works. And all of a sudden the stormtroopers start coming, and I won't ruin the surprises, but the setup is on Mustafar, and you literally feel the heat, which was really, really an amazing effect. And then it's just game on. You're like living a video game, and sometimes I kind of felt like I was holding a controller, and other times I thought, oh my gosh, I'm inside this game, I'm playing this game, and it's kind of perfect that I do this the same weekend that Ready Player One came out too. Man, I cannot recommend it highly enough. And then the ending will scare the bejesus. Then the ending is absolutely terrifying in the best way possible. I won't spoil it, but wow. I mean, I can't. I mean, it's Mustafar, and yikes! It's really, really fantastic. When it was over, I was really disappointed. The whole experience was like 30 minutes from start to finish, and it could not be more wonderful. And I can't thanks everybody at the Glendale Void experience, because it was something I'm never going to forget. I'm going to be recommending this thing forever, and I can't wait to do it again. Can't imagine it ever getting old, because whoever you're with, it makes a difference, because it's always going to be different. And it's just Riley and I and our team, because they weren't super busy, which was great. Just a really great opportunity to share some laughs and some friendship and spend some time together and do a really cool Star Wars experience that you don't get to do every day. It very much reminded me of laser tag when I was a lot younger, when laser tag had first come out. And except it was virtual and it was Star Wars, and you've got, the Star Wars music playing, and I can't recommend it highly enough. So that's pretty much it for this coffee chat. Scum and Villainy Cantina, the Denny Star Wars experience, hanging out with Riley Blanton from Star Wars Report, and then ending it with The Void, Secrets of the Empire. All amazing, a really quick 36-hour experience, but well worth it. I'm very excited to share this with all of you, and who knows what other stories or things are going to come out of this. And that's part of the fun of this whole Coffee with Kenobi and Star Wars fandom experiences. There's always something new, always new people that I meet. I feel very fortunate. I want to thank each of you for supporting the show, whether it's through Patreon or just through iTunes reviews or retweets or downloads, and your kind words and support, comments on the website. It all matters. It all makes a difference, and I really appreciate it so much. So we'll go ahead and take our last break. This is Coffee with Kenobi.
Listening to Coffee with Kenobi, you are the podcast you're looking for. This is
Before we get to email, I want to thank our CWK sponsors, One Nation Coffee, the official coffee of Coffee with Kenobi, which can be found at onenationcoffee.com. It smells amazing and tastes even better. I'd also like to thank Wink, Harry's Razors, and the Star Wars Digital Card Trader Collecting app from Topps. Please support them the way they support our podcast, and remember to listen to new and archive shows of Coffee with Kenobi wherever you listen to podcasts, including iTunes, Podcast Addict, Stitcher, Spreaker, Overcast, Blog Talk Radio, Player FM, or our website, www.coffeewithkenobi.com, or wherever you enjoy listening to your favorite shows. And if you listen to the show through iTunes, please leave us a review. We are also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, home of our CWK Coffee chat, Pinterest, and Tumblr, and we'd love for you to check us out there. Be sure to listen to our CWK family of shows too, including Legends Library, Rebels Reactions, Comics with Kenobi, and Lattes with Leia. Please leave a review for each of their shows as well, and be sure to subscribe to each of them individually as they all have their own iTunes feeds. From Jeff Myers, hey there, Coffee with Kenobi. My Forces of Destiny ideal would be Cammy and Am Peru before A New Hope, Ahsoka and a young Mon Mothma, A-Wing Pilot, Tally, and Rose. Lieutenant Connix and Leia, but that could be a little too emotional. Sincerely, Jeff. Well, Jeff, thank you so much. We had asked people to talk about what they would like to see for their pairings or their matchups on Forces of Destiny, and these are some really, really good ones. I really like the idea of Ahsoka talking to a young Mon Mothma. That is fascinating. I never even thought about those two having conversations, but surely that had to happen. So, Jeff, thank you so much for sending this in. Thanks to Jason Brame and Mike Hill for joining us today. Gentlemen, where can listeners find each of you and your contributions to Star Wars fandom?
Absolutely. As far as my contribution here to Coffee with Kenobi and the Star Wars storytelling universe, you can always check me out over at Star Wars: The Canon Explained, which is a YouTube series about the timelines of Star Wars stories. But you can find both of us over at the Chance Cube, the Star Wars Destiny network, where we talk all about the card and dice game Star Wars Destiny. We've got YouTube videos, podcast. We do our live show every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on Twitch, so you can always check us out there. And if you're feeling generous, we're currently running a Kickstarter to promote our coverage of the World Championship 2018, so you can head over to Kickstarter and search for the Chance Cube and see what we got to offer.
And you can find me on basically all the Chance Cube outlets. You can find us on Instagram at the Chance Cube. You can find us at Twitch, like Jason said, at www.twitch.tv/thechancecube. Or you can email me with any questions at mike@thechancecube.com.
Well, thank you so much, and I want to thank each and every one of you for listening to and supporting Coffee with Kenobi and for contributing to Star Wars Conversation. We will be back next week with 2 new co-hosts and more Star Wars discussion. This is the podcast you're looking for.
This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or Lucasfilm Limited. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars, all names, sounds, and any other Star Wars-related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Coffee with Kenobi unless otherwise indicated.
This is the podcast you're looking for.